The wagon wheel stands upright in the clearing, half buried in spring mud. A woman is bound to it. Her wrists bleed where rope cuts skin. Her dress hangs torn at the shoulder. She doesn't cry out anymore. Her voice died hours ago when the sun still warmed her face. Now, April dusk brings cold that makes her shake. A child whimpers beneath the wagon bed 10 feet away. The woman's eyes move toward the sound. She tries to speak. Her lips crack. "Hush now," she whispers. "Hush." The child doesn't hush. Footsteps in the underbrush. The woman's body goes rigid. Not them returning. Please, not them returning. A man emerges from the pines, tall, weathered coat, rifle across his back. He stops when he sees her. His jaw tightens. He crosses the clearing in 4 long strides. "Jesus Christ," he says. His knife comes out fast. The blade catches dying light. He cuts through rope with quick, efficient movements. She collapses forward. He catches her before she hits ground. "Who did this to you?" She can't answer. Her throat won't work. She points weakly toward the wagon bed. He lowers her to the ground with care, moves to the wagon, crouches low, pulls out a little girl, maybe 2 years old. The child's face is dirty. Her eyes are wide and empty. "She hurt?" he asks. The woman shakes her head. "You?" She doesn't answer that. He studies her face. His eyes are gray, deep-set, hard-worn. "Can you walk?" "Don't know. My cabin's a mile west. You'll freeze out here." "They might come back." "Then we move now." He lifts the child with one arm, offers his other hand to the woman. She stares at it, weathered palm, scarred knuckles, the hand of someone who works. "I won't hurt you," he says. Something in his voice. Flat statement, not promise. She takes his hand. Her legs barely hold. He shifts the child to his hip, puts his arm around the woman's waist. She flinches. He feels it, but doesn't let go. "Name's Caleb Thorne," he says. "What's yours?" "Mary." "The girl?" "Sarah?" They walk. He keeps his pace slow. The forest darkens around them. Somewhere an owl calls. Mary stumbles. Caleb holds tighter. "Almost there," he says. Through the trees, lamplight appears. A cabin, small and square, smoke rising from the chimney. Mary's knees give out on the porch steps. Caleb carries them both inside. The cabin is 1 room. Clean, sparse. Fire burning in the stone hearth. He sets Sarah on a chair, covered with deerskin. Lowers Mary onto the bed, against the far wall. "I'll get water," he says. "Why are you helping us?" He pauses at the door. Looks back. "Because someone left you tied to a wheel," he says. "And I'm not that kind of man." 3 days pass before Mary speaks more than necessary words. Caleb asks nothing. He tends the fire. Cooks simple meals: venison, cornbread, coffee, black as night. He gives Mary the bed. Takes the floor himself, with wool blankets. Sarah stays close to her mother, thumb in mouth, watching everything. On the 4th morning, Mary sits up without, wincing. "I should go," she says. Caleb looks up from the skillet. Where? She has no answer. Stay till you're stronger, he says. No obligation past that. Mary studies him. He's maybe 40, face carved by weather and years. A scar runs through his left eyebrow. His hands move with quiet competence, flipping Johnny cakes without looking. What do you want from me? She asks. Nothing. Men always want something. I'm not them. He slides food onto tin plates, sets one before her. Eat. She eats. Sarah climbs into her lap, reaching for cornbread. Mary breaks off pieces, feeds her daughter small bites. Caleb watches this without expression. Her father? He asks finally. Dead. Fever took him last winter. I'm sorry. Mary says nothing. The men who tied you don't want to speak of it. Caleb nods. Let's silence fill the cabin. Outside, spring rain begins. Soft percussion on the roof. Sarah's eyes grow heavy against Mary's chest. I'll build a cradle, Caleb says. For the girl, so you can rest proper. You don't have to, I know. That afternoon he works in the corner. Mary watches his hands shape wood. Smooth movements. Patient. He doesn't rush. Sarah sits near, playing with pine cones he collected for her. You live alone? Mary asks. 3 years now. Wife? Dead. Cholera. Children? His hands stop moving. A son. Died with her. Mary's throat tightens. I'm sorry. Long time ago. He resumes work. The plane whispers against pine. Pain doesn't leave. You just learn to carry it different. Evening comes. The cradle takes shape. Simple rails, smooth base. Caleb lines it with soft deerskin. Sets it near the hearth where warmth reaches. Mary lays Sarah down. The child curls small. Thumb returning to mouth. Within minutes, sleep takes her. Thank you, Mary says. Caleb hangs tools on wall pegs. You're afraid of me. Not a question. Mary tenses. I see you watching the door, he continues, checking where the knife is. How far to run? Can you blame me? No. He faces her. But you need to know something. This cabin has one rule. You want to leave, doors unlocked, day or night. No one stops you. No one follows. Why tell me this? So you know you're not trapped. Not here. Not with me. Mary's eyes burn. She looks away. What kind of man are you? The kind who wishes someone had helped my wife when she needed it. He moves to the door. I'll check the horses. Give you time alone. He steps into the rain. The door closes soft behind him. Mary stands in the quiet cabin. Fire crackling. Sarah breathing steady in her cradle. She walks to the door, tests the latch. It opens easy under her hand. She looks out into darkness. Rain falling. Forest, vast and black beyond the porch. She closes the door, locks it from inside. When Caleb returns 20 minutes later, dripping wet, she's still awake, sitting by the fire. She doesn't explain, doesn't need to. He hangs his coat, takes his place on the floor. Good night, Mary, he says. Good night. In the darkness, she listens to him breathe. It's not how Daniel breathed. Different rhythm entirely. Sarah stirs in the cradle. Mary's hand reaches out, rocks it gentle. Outside, the rain continues. Inside, for the first time in weeks, Mary closes her eyes without fear. 2 weeks become 3. Mary's wrists heal, leaving pale scars. She gains weight. Color returns to her cheeks. Sarah laughs now, a sound that startles them all the first time they hear it. Mary begins to help without being asked. Sweeps the floor, mends Caleb's shirts where they've torn. He protests once. She gives him a look that stops words in his throat. "I'm not a charity case," she says. "Never thought you were." They develop rhythms. Caleb hunts at dawn. Mary tends the cabin, the fire, the meals. Evenings they sit quiet while Sarah plays. Sometimes Caleb whittles, sometimes Mary sews. They don't talk much. Don't need to, but supplies run low. "Town's 6 miles south," Caleb says one morning. "Need flour, salt, other things." Mary's hands still on the biscuit dough. "You going today?" "Was planning to. You and Sarah will be fine here." "I could come." He looks at her careful. "You sure?" "Can't hide forever." The ride to town takes 2 hours. Caleb drives the wagon. Mary sits beside him, Sarah in her lap. The road is rough. Spring mud dried to ruts. Mary watches the forest pass. Her jaw stays tight. "You don't have to explain anything to anyone," Caleb says. "We get what we need. We leave. People will talk. People always talk." The town is small. One main street. General store. Church. Saloon. A few houses scattered beyond. Caleb pulls the wagon to the store's hitching post. A woman sweeps the boardwalk nearby. She stops when she sees them. Her eyes narrow. "Caleb Thorne," she says. "Heard you had company." "Mrs. Patterson." Caleb tips his hat, doesn't elaborate. "And who's this?" Mary lifts her chin. "Mary Brennan." "Brennan, don't know that name." Mrs. Patterson's gaze drops to Sarah, then back to Mary. "You kin to Caleb?" "No, ma'am." "I see." 2 words heavy with judgment. Caleb's hand finds Mary's elbow. "Excuse us." Inside the store, the proprietor, an old man named Jessup, greets them without comment, takes Caleb's list, begins gathering items. Mary stands close to the counter, Sarah on her hip. The door opens. 2 men enter. They see Mary and stop talking. One elbows the other. Stare. "That's her," one whispers. Not quiet enough. Mary's spine goes rigid. Caleb turns slow, looks at the men, says nothing, just looks. His eyes go flat and cold. The men find somewhere else to be, in the store. $30 even, Jessup says, oblivious or pretending. Caleb pays, helps load supplies. They're almost to the wagon when a voice calls out, "Caleb Thorne!" A man in a dark suit crosses the street. The preacher, Reverend Moss. His face is sharp with righteousness. "Reverend," Caleb says, "heard you're harboring a woman, unmarried woman, in your home. I'm giving shelter to someone who needed it. It's improper, sinful. This town has standards. This town had a woman tied to a wagon wheel and left to die," Caleb says. His voice stays level, dangerous in its calm. Where were your standards then? Reverend Moss's face reddens. I don't know what you're implying. I'm not implying anything. I'm stating fact. People have stopped to watch. A crowd forming. Mary feels their eyes like brands. She should stay at the church, the Reverend says, where proper oversight. She's staying where she is. Then you're choosing to live in sin, openly, before God and this community. Caleb's jaw works. Mary sees him struggling. The weight of town, opinion. His place here? 3 years of rebuilding after his wife died. She sees him waver. It's all right, Mary says quietly. I can go to the church. Caleb looks at her. Something breaks behind his eyes. Load up, he tells her, not meeting her gaze. Mary climbs onto the wagon. Sarah whimpers, sensing tension. The crowd watches in silence. Caleb drives them out of town without another word. The ride back is long. Neither speaks. Mary stares at her hands, at the rope scars on her wrist. She'd been foolish to hope, to think things could be different. At the cabin, Caleb stops the wagon but doesn't get down. I'm sorry, he says. For what? You gave me shelter. That's more than most would do. I should have... He stops, tries again. I should have stood up for you. You did stand up for me, until it cost too much. She climbs down before he can respond. Carries Sarah inside. Begins gathering their few possessions. Mary packs through the afternoon. Sarah clings to her skirt, confused by sudden movement. The cradle Caleb built sits empty by the hearth. Caleb comes inside at dusk. Stops when he sees her bag by the door. You're leaving. Better this way. Better for who? Mary folds a dress, one he bought her in town 3 days prior. You have a life here, a reputation. I won't ruin it. Mary, don't. She holds up her hand. You've been kind, more than kind. But kindness has limits. I understand that. You don't understand anything. She turns on him then, eyes blazing. I understand that you were ashamed of me in that street. I understand that when it mattered, you chose what people think over what's right. The words land like blows. Caleb flinches. You're correct, he says quietly. I failed you. Yes, you did. He sits heavy in the chair by the fire, looks at his hands. My father was a hard man, cared more about appearing righteous than being righteous. Beat that same fear into me, fear of judgment, of not measuring up. He pauses. My wife, Anna, she saw through it. Told me once, Caleb, you build your prison with other people's opinions. I didn't listen well enough before she died. Mary's hands still on the packing. When that preacher confronted me, Caleb continues, I heard my father's voice, felt small again, afraid. He looks up at her. But that's my weakness, not your burden. What are you saying? I'm saying you're right to leave. I don't deserve you staying. He stands. But before you go, I need to tell you something. He crosses to a trunk beneath the window, opens it. Inside are folded clothes, small shirts, tiny trousers, a child's things. He lifts them carefully. My son's name was Thomas. He was 4. when he died. Anna always said we'd have more children. Fill this cabin with noise and life. His voice roughens. Then they were both gone, and the silence was... He stops. Breathes. When you came here, when Sarah laughed that first time, something broke open in me. Something I'd locked away. Mary's throat tightens. I'm not asking you to stay, Caleb says. I have no right, but you should know that these past weeks you've given me something I thought was gone forever. Hope. Purpose. A reason to tend the garden instead of letting it go to weeds. He folds the small clothes back into the trunk, closes the lid. Tomorrow I'm riding back to town, he says. Going to stand in that street and tell anyone who'll listen that you're under my protection. That this cabin is your home as long as you want it. That anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with me. Caleb, I should have done it today. I was a coward. But my father's dead, and his voice has no power unless I give it power. He meets her eyes. You deserve someone who'll stand beside you when it's hard. Not just when it's easy. Mary blinks back tears. Why now? Why not before? Because watching you pack made me realize something. I've been so afraid of losing again that I never really opened my hand. He moves closer, stops just beyond arm's reach. You're not my wife. Sarah's not my son. And that's all right. You're something different. Something new. And maybe that's what second chances look like. Not replacing what's lost. Building something else entirely. Sarah toddles over to Caleb, lifts her arms. He picks her up without thinking. The child lays her head on his shoulder. She trusts you, Mary whispers. Do you? Mary looks at the cabin, at the cradle by the fire, the mended shirts hanging on pegs, the garden outside where green shoots are beginning to show. Caleb planted it 2 weeks ago, showed her where each seed went. Potatoes, beans, squash, things that take months to grow. I want to, she says. I'm afraid to. Me too. He shifts Sarah to his hip. But I'm more afraid of not trying. Mary wipes her eyes, looks at her packed bag, at the man holding her daughter, at the home she's been too scared to claim. If I stay, she says slowly, things have to be different. I can't be your burden or your project. I need to be an equal, Caleb finishes. A partner. Yes? Then that's what we'll be. He pauses. If you'll have me. Mary crosses to him, takes Sarah from his arms, sets the child down. Then she unpacks her bag, one item at a time. Deliberate. Caleb watches without moving. When the bag is empty, Mary folds it and tucks it beneath the bed. I'm staying, she says. Not because I need rescue, because I choose to. All right. And tomorrow when you ride to town, I'm coming with you. Caleb's eyebrows rise. You sure? They'll talk whether I hide or not. Might as well give them something real to see. A smile touches his weathered face. Small, but genuine. Yes, ma'am. That night they sit by the fire as usual. Sarah sleeps in her cradle. The silence between them feels different now. Not empty, full. Caleb, Mary says, yes? Thank you for failing, for coming back from it. He considers this, nods. Failure's just another kind of beginning, if you let it be. Outside, spring night settles over the forest. Inside, two people sit beside a fire. They're learning to tend together. The wheel that bound Mary stands somewhere in the woods, rotting into earth. But the cradle Caleb built remains. And in the garden, beneath dark soil, seeds wait for sun. Mary reaches across the space between them, takes Caleb's scarred hand in hers. He doesn't pull away. They don't speak of love. Not yet. Love is what they're building. One day at a time, one choice at a time. Not found, not rescued. Built with patience and trust, and the slow, steady work of two people learning to stop running from their scars. The fire crackles. Sarah dreams. And in a small cabin in the Wyoming territory, two broken people begin the careful act of becoming whole.